Everyone. I am here with Nancy Zari today, and we're going to have a casual conversation about marketing and sales and the relationship between the two. So, hey, Nancy, good to see you.
Thank you. I understand I'm your first guest on live stream, so I'm very honored, Joe. Thank you.
You are the first guest. I appreciate you being here and all the we had a little getting this thing together here before we came on live. So I appreciate you and all the listeners. So yeah. So this is going to be great. Nancy and I got talking the other day about sales and about how some people, and perhaps a lot of people, perhaps some people here today, don't like sales, don't like marketing, love talking with clients, love making an impact with clients, and really enjoy when clients give them money and they see it going into their account, into their PayPal, into their Zelle, into their, check. That's the good stuff, right?
That is the good stuff. And what I was sharing with Joe is that rather than selling skills, people are saying they go to a marketing professional or a marketing agency like Joe, and they say, Joe, you do the heavy lifting for me. And they're expecting the marketing to actually do the selling.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you are a subject matter expert, there's a good chance that before someone can hire you, they need to have a conversation and basically get a feel for who you are before they can say yes. Hence, you've got to have some skill in that conversation. How do you close or convert that person so they enroll as your client? That was what led to our doing this program together, because we realized there's a continuum between marketing and selling.
Right. Marketing is getting people to the conversation. And that can happen in many different ways. And it depends on your business, your industry. It also depends on where you have access to your ideal clients, right? But marketing gets them to you. You know what I mean? Like I get emails from REI. I love REI, Recreation Equipment Incorporated, right? Great. If you like outdoor stuff, you know what I'm talking about. Well, they send me emails, they send me letters. That gets me into the store. That gets me looking at what they've got going on, but it doesn't make the sale, right? Doesn't make the sale. What makes the sale?
Go
There's
ahead. I'm waiting for that. What does make the
what
sale?
does make the sale? Well, when they get
Because there's a difference in selling merchandise, which is what Joe is describing, REI, because what many consumers do, and I bet you're one of them, Joe, as well as the people listening, you probably do a little searching on the net before you actually settle on the item and the manufacturer, because you're looking at the features and the benefits and weighing the price and etc. And when you go to the store, it may be to talk to a savvy, smart salesperson who has more knowledge, maybe something that wasn't quite clear to you when you did your initial homework. And
that,
so that will help you weigh the choices.
yes, that's very true. And I love talking with the folks at REI because they are hikers, they're mountain climbers, they're kayakers, they're bicyclists, they're people who are actively doing the outdoor activities. And I love that. And I love talking with Nancy because she is actually doing what she is teaching. She is walking the walk. She's talking the talk and walking the. Is that how you say that? She's talking the talk and walking the walk. And she's there. She knows what's going on in the market.
Well, and specifically, what my gift is what's going on in the mind of the buyer. When you understand how buyers buy, and I give you X-ray vision. I help you take what's in plain sight looking at someone's clothing, listening to how they speak, looking at their behaviors. I take what's in plain sight and give you insight about their buying style so that you can speak the language of your buyer.
Oh, so that's also important in marketing, right? You want to speak the language, you want to communicate and make an impact with your ideal client.
It's so true, Joe. And so many people avoid pinning themselves down to an ideal client. Would you agree? They don't like to, what's called niche. They don't like to hone in on that avatar, that ideal client, because you're afraid you're going to lose business. Is that
That's
your
right.
experience?
I have found that to be true in many people I speak with, and it was true in my own mind also. I didn't want to eliminate clients. I didn't want to close people out, let's say, because I was focusing on a narrow niche. But the narrow niche, the riches are in the niches, and that is absolutely true. It doesn't mean I can't talk with people outside of that avatar. But if you're trying to be everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody, because it's not a time in the world for the generalist, right? It's the time in the world for the specialist. Have you found that to be true, Nancy?
Absolutely. I appreciate what you're saying about the time for the specialist because you think about it, that is the internet has allowed us to find small pockets of people all over the globe.
Yes.
If you were only marketing to your hometown and you were only looking for clients within your own hometown, there's a certain population you're limited to because that's your hometown. But the internet and most of the people, after all, we're talking to each other now on the internet. I'm in Florida, you're in the Minnesota, right?
Oh no, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina. I confused you with someone else. So I mean, we're at different parts of the country here, and yet here we are conversing on this, in the same time and space as if we were, in literally in the same room.
Yes. The example I like to use is when I went to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with my family, and my dad was part of that expedition, and he wanted to find a trainer. He's in shape, but he wanted to be in the best shape to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And he went on the internet and he searched personal trainer. Well, it shows up, get your body, your dad body back. It was lose 20 pounds in 30 days. It was get your pre-baby body back. Obviously, that was way off track for my dad. Um, but he came across one fellow who said this in his marketing campaign right up front. I help middle-aged men climb mountains.
Perfect. I mean, that is, and you see, that is why it's so important for you to embrace the idea of being a specialist and to have a niche. And again, when you have a niche, honestly, it makes the marketing less expensive, more laser focused. You get higher quality prospects coming your way, which then makes selling easier because you're speaking the language of your prospect. And they say, "You get me, we're alike, I'm all in."
Yes, absolutely. And there's 7 billion people in the world. And I like to say everyone's got knowledge, experience, and expertise, and you've been through things. I mean, if you've had challenges that you've gotten through, and that's unique to you, but out of 7 billion people, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands of people who are going through the same thing right now, and they'd love to know how you got through that challenge. And you can market to them when you have a process, when you have a system to get people from A to B, let's say through that challenge, you can market to them. And then once you get them on the phone call and explain your program to them, you get to the point where you need to ask for the sale, and you say, no, no, I don't want to ask for the sale. Oh my gosh.
Well, there are soft ways of asking, and I'm all about what's called no pressure selling or the soft conversational selling technique. Yeah, and there are what's called, and you probably have heard this term, Joe, trial close questions. A
Yes.
trial close is a very gentle, easy way to find out if the popcorn kernel is ready to pop, or maybe has already popped. Again, this is something that I help my clients master, is what are those trial close questions? And again, to feel confident in asking them, because I'll be candid with you, confidence sells.
Yes.
Sells.
Confidence does sell.
It's a transfer of energy. And again, I know from marketing, that's exactly what you're doing, Joe, is again, you're trying to capture an audience that says, I'm part of this tribe, I'm a part of this community, and that's what gets them into what's called the sales funnel. But then you need to nurture them, which is where marketing and selling kind of come together, because the nurturing is taking place within the funnel until you get to the point where there is that conversation. And yes, you need to be able to ask the dreaded question, will you work with me? Are you ready to get started? Is this the right time for us to go forward? And so forth.
Right. And I love that you use the word nurturing. I used to hear a lot about qualifying your prospects, but I love the nurturing your prospects and providing value, letting them see what you do, who you are, and how you can help. And that's nurturing your contacts. In marketing, we know not everyone's ready to buy right away. And that's why you nurture your contacts. You provide information. You position yourself as the expert by providing information. Yes.
To dovetail on what you just said, not everyone is ready to buy today. Statistics have shown that at any given moment, only 2 to 3% of your market is ready to buy now. Another 7%, it's been on their mind. And if you came along with an irresistible offer, they might say, now's the time. But that leaves a full 90% of your market that is going to need the nurturing. They're going to need continuous touch points with you over time to learn who you are, to begin to develop that trust, to feel that we're alike, you get me, we can do business together.
Yes. That is the key. That is the key. So Nancy, I've got a question now. Once, let's say we're through the process of nurturing, where, well, it never really ends, but we get on the call with the client because the client has gotten to a point, or the prospect, I'm sorry, the prospect has gotten to the point where they're ready for a conversation, which means they're probably a little bit further along in that buying process. What should that call look like? And I know that's a very wide open question.
So I'll quickly respond by saying that there are 4 steps in the sales process. Step number 1 is that foundational step, the opening, where you're developing rapport. Without rapport, you can't progress to step 2. Step 2 is asking questions, fact finding, learning about their situation. Have they tried other solutions? What do they think the problem is? What are they hoping the future will be like, and so forth? That's step 2, is asking those fact finding questions, which hopefully leads to what is called a gap between where they are today and where they hope to be tomorrow. If there's an agreement on the gap, then that leads you to the third part of the sales process, which is to discuss how your service, what you offer, may be able to bridge that gap. Again, to make sure that you have agreement on the gap and what it is that you're going to offer, which then, if there is agreement, you're ready for step 4, which is, as you said, Joe, is to actually ask for the sale.
Mhm.
Now, that may not take place in a single conversation. You may need more than one conversation because guess what? You've asked a few questions and now our prospects gets a little squirmy and a little bit, I'm not ready to proceed. And so you have to make it an arrangement to talk a second or third time and so forth until there's enough information, enough understanding that again, you can proceed.
Okay. So would you consider that a successful call if you've set up a second call?
Oh, yes. It's called an advancement. Anytime and whenever you are speaking with someone, even if it's a new prospect that you've met online or in an in person networking event, and the advancement is an exchange of contact information, that's a win. And then now that you have contact information, they agree to be on your newsletter or allow you to message them. This is all advancement. So each step along the road is an advancement, and that is considered a win.
Okay. And then so you have a second call and maybe a third call.
Mhm.
Okay. And you're still building that relationship, building the
Absolutely.
rapport, learning more about what their problem is, what their challenge is. And then how do you ask for the sale?
Again, I suggest what's called the trial close question. These are soft questions to determine that you're both on the same page. There's an agreement about what that gap is, and there's an agreement about a solution that seems to make sense, seems to fit the bill. And then when there's that tentative agreement, now you're ready to actually ask for the sale. So, with that understanding, is there any reason why we shouldn't move forward?
Okay. I've heard that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There are many ways to express it, and I
Hmm.
don't mean to imply that there's just one. I think you know, Joe, that I break down people into four categories, four buying styles, personality styles, and really you need to adjust your language, your conversation to match the other person's style. Because when you do that, they're going to relax, the trust will build, the sales resistance drops away, and that opens the door to doing business together. So it isn't a one size fits all. And if you think there's only one way to ask somebody to do business with you, I would suggest that no, there are at least four ways that you may need to know.
At least four. So there's four buying styles, as you mentioned. Can you name those styles for us?
Well, there are people I'm sure have heard of DISC and Myers Briggs. Earlier this morning, I was on a networking call, and he immediately said, "Oh, owl, and there's dove and eagle, and there are birds, fish, dogs, you name it." I use numbers. And the reason I use numbers to label the styles is because it represents the amount of contacts needed by your buyer to make up their mind. So the number two style, I happen to be wearing my number two hat, is very quick, very decisive. They need only one or two contacts and they're ready to get it off their plate. They're that low hanging fruit that people like to meet up with because they're ready to buy. But they're also very flighty, and so there are some challenges in working with this buyer. So number two, number four, number six, number eight, that number eight buyer takes eight to infinity. They have to learn everything they can about your subject area before they can feel that they're ready to have you be the expert. So very different styles, but I use the numbers rather than the words or colors or names of animals.
Okay. I kind of like the names of animals. That's
Yeah, they
cute.
are cute. I mean, we've got dolphins and whales, and we have doves and eagles, and there are many of them, like I mentioned.
I've talked to a lot of snails, you know?
Well, yeah, there you go. That's our number eight, the snail, as opposed to the rabbit.
Yes. Well, it's all fun. And I think if you do this right, you can be yourself. You don't need to try to take on a personality. You don't like, I am never going to wear a hat like that, but I love it on you. It looks great.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Joe, because being yourself is really, in the long run, you can only be yourself. Everyone else is taken. So be yourself, but be the best self you can be. And the best self you can be is to gain some skill, hire out people who can help you, and work with folks who have more knowledge and experience, and use that to your best advantage.
Right, right. Don't set out to copy someone, but set out to learn from people. Set out to learn and then incorporate your own style, which should be a real natural process, right? We shouldn't have to struggle to be ourselves. And I think if you're struggling to be yourself, there's something doesn't make sense there.
Well, I understand that of the four buying styles, one of them does a lot of self-reflection. And I would have to say to you, Joe, that they, in a way, they do struggle to be themselves because they have all these self-doubt. They have all these second thoughts about, did I just say the right thing? Did I step on my toes? Did I blunder? I mean, and so one of the styles is very much into self-doubt. But that's also the same style that cares passionately about serving others. And so, again, when you understand the style, you can use that strength within the style to actually overcome any negative, repercussions or anything that would hold you back from, again, being authentic and being yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's all about. And sometimes it takes time to learn how to do that and be okay with being yourself.
Yeah, so true. It's so true. So this has been an excellent conversation. I hope that our audience has enjoying it as well. And please, if you're watching a replay, we would love to have your comments and get a sense of what you found valuable in our conversation.
Yeah, that's great stuff there. Thank you for saying all of that. That's great. And we will have contact information for myself and for Nancy. We'll have that in the comments. I know I can put it here online and stream it through, but in the comments it'll be a clickable link, and you can learn more about Nancy. Nancy, do you have anything, any gifts, any downloads, anything like that, or resources where you could send someone to who would want to learn more about you?
So if you are interested, I do have a number of books, and they're available on Nancy's books.link, and we can put that there. So if people would like to read up on me, etc. And some of them are electronic books, some of them are in print, and that's a great way for you to learn a little bit about more of what I offer.
Okay, great. And you're on the social media platforms?
Oh, yeah. The hat. You look for the woman with the hat, or the hats in plural, because entrepreneurs wear many hats, and that is my particular brand.
Well said. Thank you so much. This has been great. And I'm Joe Matz. My business is Apexable. Thank you for
And
tuning in. And we're going
Dr. Nancy Zaire, and sales psychologist to your sales success.
All right. Bye, everyone.